Hey YouTube, we're glad you're here tonight. We have a special treat for you. Tonight, Meat Lover's Paradise. We are making steak Florentine. This steak is so good, you're not even gonna believe it. It's an Italian style steak. We'll show you some tricks on it, how to sear this steak, get all those juices to stay in there, and have just this delicious, wonderfully juicy steak. And we're gonna be serving up some broccolini as a side tonight, Italian style with some garlic, a little bit of olive oil, some crushed red pepper to give it a little spice, salt, pepper. Easy to make. These dishes are all easy to make, but fantastic. So we're gonna do a side of rigatoni with some Untitled Gourmet and a little bit of ricotta on the side. Absolutely delicious. And you know what? I have a special surprise tonight. Before I reveal the special surprise, look at these steaks. These steaks are huge. They're huge. These steaks are so beautiful. So our special surprise for you tonight, I don't normally bake, but we're going to be doing something, an Italian pastry called zeppoles. It's almost reminiscent of carnival food. It's absolutely delicious, and we'll be making that. It's fried dough, rolled in a little bit of sugar, which served with some raspberries. Fantastic dessert. So we're glad you're here, YouTubers, and stick with us. This is going to be a fun night. Okay, so I told you tonight we're going to make a special dessert. That was the surprise. It's a surprise to me because I don't usually make dessert. But what we're going to make is one of my favorites, as I told you earlier. It's called zeppoles, fried dough. And these things are traditional in Italy. They're absolutely delicious. What I've done here, okay, is I've kind of pre-prepped this so it doesn't drag on forever. We've got 2 cups of unbleached flour that's already in the mixer here. Okay, and then in this mixture we have 1 teaspoon of dry active yeast. We have 1 tablespoon of olive oil. We have 1 tablespoon of sugar, regular refined sugar, and then we have 1 cup of warm water. That's to help dissolve everything. So we take this mixture, we stir it all up, okay? And this has been here for a couple of minutes, so it's nice and dissolved. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pour this into the flour. If you can follow me over here to the flour, we're going to go ahead and put this in the mixer. This is ready to go. Drop this mixture down in here. I know it's hard to get a good shot sometimes in this kitchen. And we're going to start this up. We're going to mix this up, and in a couple of minutes, like magic, this is going to be ready to go. And through the magic of cinematography, otherwise known as turning the camera off, then turning the camera back on, we have mixed the dough for the zeppoles, and you can see that. It looks a little bit flat right now, but it's got yeast in there, so it's going to rise. We're going to let this sit for a little while and rise. And what I like to do to make sure it rises and stays the right temperature is I take a towel, a clean towel of course, and wet that with hot water, put that over top of the bowl, and we're going to let that bowl sit for about 1 hour to 1.5 hours while that dough rises. So that's why we want to get this out of the way first, and then we'll come back to that after we're done cooking our meal. Okay, so now what we've got is our seasoning for our steak Florentine. This is really easy to make, but man, if you could smell this, it makes the whole room smell amazing. This is so good and so pungent. The recipe is simple. We've got 1/2 cup of Mediterranean sea salt. We've got 1 decent sized sprig of rosemary. We've got 4 to 5 medium sized sage leaves. And we chop that rosemary up real good and the sage in a food processor just to get it chopped up so that it's not too big. And then we mix that with the salt, and then we grate a little lemon zest from fresh lemons into this. Just lemon zest from just 1/2 lemon. And mix all this together, and this is what we're going to use as our seasoning for those steaks. Phenomenal. The whole room smells amazing. Okay, so here's what we've done so far. I took these steaks out about 1/2 hour ago, and I let them come up to room temperature. Very important when you want to make a quality steak. If you start with quality meat, you want to go the whole 9 yards, and you want to do everything right. You don't want to mess it up. So what I've done here is I've let this the steaks come up for about a half hour to room temperature. Now we're going to go ahead and season them with the seasoning that I showed you earlier. This is very simple. You're going to take a bit of this, you're going to sprinkle it on the steak, and then you're going to rub this into the steak, just like I'm doing right here. Okay? You don't want to overdo it. Oh, I forgot to tell you there's garlic in here. We need 2 cloves of garlic. I completely forgot to tell you that in the recipe. But don't worry, we'll include the actual recipe at the end of the video for you so that you have all the information. Okay, but there are 2 cloves of finely chopped garlic in here as well. Okay, so we're going to get both sides of these steaks. We're going to start just like this. We're going to make sure that we get this rubbed into the steak real nice. And we're going to let that settle for just a little bit. Okay, turn the steaks over. Make sure you get both sides of the meat real good. You want to get all those flavors into the meat. You want to make sure that it permeates the meat. Like I said, it's not hard to do this. You just got to know how to do it. Once you have the recipe, this is pretty simple. It's not rocket science, but boy, it's a good tasting steak. Now, if you want, you can rub some of this like this. And actually, a really easy way to do that is take some of this, put it down on your board, and just go like this so that you get the sides of the steak nice and seasoned as well. Just like this. You want to get that flavoring all over the meat. And that's it. We're going to let that sit for a few minutes, and then I'm going to show you how to fry this up, sear it. We're not going to fry the whole steak, but we're going to sear it to seal in those juices, and then we're going to finish it in the oven. We'll show you that in just a minute. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to chop up some garlic for our broccolini. I know it's not a big deal, and everybody's probably saying, well, why are you showing us how to chop garlic? Well, because I'm not really chopping this garlic, I'm slicing this garlic because it seems to really impart a nice flavor when you thinly slice the garlic just like this. And it's nice with the broccolini to get a contrast to the garlic. Garlic is such a wonderful thing to cook with. And look, if you have a nice sharp knife, look how thin you can get that. Beautiful, right? If you ever watch Goodfellas, when they were making the pasta sauce, they said they use a razor blade to do the garlic. I don't need a razor blade. I can do it with a good sharp knife. And it's just as thin. So there, I'm a good fella too. Okay, so now we're going to chop this garlic up we're going to slice this garlic real thin for the broccolini. And let me tell you something about garlic. It's really, really good for you. It's a super healthy thing to include in your diet, and wards off vampires. So I mean, how can you lose? Okay, so we've got the garlic sliced up real nice, and we're going to get ready to finish prepping the broccolini. I'll show you that in just a second. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to, you see we've got our thinly sliced garlic in the pan here. We're going to add some olive oil to this, and we're going to heat this olive oil up on the stove, and we're going to get that garlic to impart its nice fresh flavor in there. And I mean, the dough's been rising, and I've been cutting it. You know, I get thirsty. Anybody that's watched the show knows I usually drink wine. I can't find my favorite wine glass tonight, but that's okay. Oh, that's Paradox. Good Napa Valley wine. I like this. Okay, don't forget to record. Okay, what we're doing right now is we're heating this olive oil up. We've got some fresh extra virgin olive oil in here with our freshly sliced garlic. One thing you don't want to do with garlic is burn it. It destroys the garlic, destroys the flavor. So you don't want this to get too hot. So you want to watch this the whole time that you're heating this up. Okay? You want to make sure you're on a low flame. Now, some people like to steam their broccoli before they cook it. I don't. I can eat broccoli raw with, you know, I like broccoli. So I don't do that. I don't steam the broccoli. I want to keep all the freshness of the broccoli intact. So we're just going to take our broccolini and we're going to place this right inside the pan here, just like this with the garlic. We want some of these leaves in here. We're going to put this in here just like this. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take our sea salt grinder. We're going to grind some sea salt on here. We're going to put a little bit of fresh ground black pepper. And we're going to let this fry up on a low heat, cover. And instead of steaming it, having it covered like this, frying in the oil, keeping a close eye on it, turning it regularly is going to give it a nice firm, it's going to maintain a nice firm fresh broccoli texture, but it's also going to get all those flavors infused in it. So this is a delicious way to make fried broccolini. Okay, so the broccolini is now ready, once again through the magic of cinematography, also known as turning your camera on and off. This stuff. Oh man, if you could smell this. Hopefully you can see this. And this is why I say to do it like this instead of steaming it. This is still going to have a nice crunchy texture to it, but all the flavor is infused. It's going to have all that flavor of the broccoli and the garlic and the olive oil and the sea salt and the black pepper all infused into that broccoli, but still maintain a nice fresh crunch to it. Now we're going to add a little bit of crushed red pepper on this, just like this, just to kick up the spice just a little bit. Put a little heat in it. Mix this up one more time. And this is ready to serve. Okay, so we've got our water on the stove here. We're getting that ready to boil for the pasta for our side of rigatoni. And tonight we are featuring Untitled Gourmet Fresh Basil Pasta Sauce. Stuff is phenomenal. Less than 3 grams of sugar, 205 milligrams of salt. Super healthy sauce, 100% natural. And, just so you know there's no tricks, right out of the jar, just like you'd buy it in the store. And we have 5 different flavors of Untitled Gourmet Pasta Sauce. They are available on Amazon.com, Walmart.com, and if you go to italosgourmet.com, that's I-T-A-L-O-S gourmet.com, and click on the store locator, you'll find all the stores that carry it near you. So we're going to go ahead and heat this up. It literally is that good. Right out of the jar, heat it up, serve it over the pasta. Fantastic. Sorry. Okay, what we're doing right now is we are superheating this pan. Now I gotta tell you, this skillet, this is a cast iron skillet, okay? And we use that for a reason, because cast iron, we can get that temperature way up, right on top of the stove. So this is gonna act just like a barbecue grill. And we're going to get it super hot, and we're going to sear these steaks before we finish them off in the oven. So that's what we're doing right now. We're bringing the temperature on this pan way up so we can get a nice good sear on this. Okay, our pan is nice and hot. Our steaks are at room temperature. And we're going to go ahead and put these right in here. Once you put these in the pan, do not move them. If you move them, you mess up the searing ability of the pan. So we're going to keep these in here. Now, when you do this in the house, there's going to be a little bit of smoke. You'll notice I have a fan that's turned on, an exhaust fan right here to pull any smoke out of the kitchen, because it can, when you do this, it's kind of like grilling inside the house. So you want to go ahead and make sure you have ventilation, either overhead ventilation or the ventilation like I've got right here over the stove. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and flip these over. These are nice and seared. Well, semi-seared. We got to do that over. Okay, so now we're going to turn the steak over, sear the other side. We've got those flavors mixing, getting infused into the steak. Man, if you can smell this, it's so good. And now that we've seared these real nice, we're going to go ahead and put these in the oven to finish the process. And this oven is really hot. We're talking about a 500-degree oven there. And we're going to put it right in with the pan. And we're going to go ahead and finish that off in the oven. Okay, so the steaks are done. We've taken them out of the oven. And we're going to let those steaks rest for about 10-15 minutes. We're going to let it seal those juices in. You don't want to cut the steaks too soon. You want to let them sit there and rest before you cut them. So we're going to let that rest for a little while. We've got the rest of the stuff getting ready, prepared here, and we're boiling our water, heating up the sauce, and we'll be plating shortly. Okay, so we're going to use some of these special pasta that I found. I didn't even know I had these. We were going to do rigatoni, but instead we're going to do these. These are actually really nice. So we're going to go ahead and make the fancy pasta tonight. It's a fancy dinner. Okay, YouTube, here's the final product. Plated, look at this, absolutely gorgeous. Steak Florentine, broccolini, and a side of pasta with Italo's gourmet pasta sauce. This is absolutely delicious. I'd stay and talk a little bit longer, but I'm going to eat this. And then when we come back, we're going to show you the secret to making a fantastic zeppole. Okay, so we had dinner. It was so good. Sorry you missed it, but you can cook it at home. You saw how to do it now. The steak was amazing. The pasta was amazing. The broccolini was amazing. And now to top it all off, we're going to finish making the zeppoles for dessert. My grandmother used to call these scoopelle. So some people call it scoopelle, other people call it zeppoles. We're going to start now. We've got the oil up to 350 degrees. Very important. You don't want the oil too hot. You want to bring it up to 350 degrees. It's just the right temperature. I put a little bit of vegetable oil on my hands, so that when I scoop them out and put them in, because these are free form, so you don't want it to stick, because this dough is kind of sticky. So here we go. We're going to put the first one in. One down. Here's another one. Free-form donuts. Oh, this is going to be a good one. I said the dough's really sticky, so you don't want to crowd it too much, so that's all we're going to put in for right now. What you want to do is you want to turn these after about whatever, 30 seconds or so that was, because these cook pretty fast. This one's not ready yet to turn. Turn it back over. You want them to be a nice golden brown on both sides. They don't take long to cook. Look at those things. They fluff up and they're nice and airy. Light. It's a real light type of pastry. It's not really a pastry, but it's kind of a pastry. But when you fry this dough up, because it's got the yeast in there and it rises, so it gets nice and fluffy and airy, and these things are absolutely delicious. So we're going to pull these out, and we're going to show you what to do after this. Okay, look at this. There's dessert. Fresh, hot. These things are absolutely delicious, especially when served hot. So what you want to do is, as soon as you take these out while they're still hot, you want to sprinkle a little bit of granulated sugar on them, just like this. Toss them around a little bit, make sure you got sugar on all of them. Oh, these things are absolutely fantastic. Look at that. We're going to plate these up in a second and show you what they look like. Ready to eat. Here we go, YouTubers. Look at that. If that doesn't make your mouth water, I don't know what will. These are fresh, hot out of the deep fryer. Fresh raspberries, a little bit of sprinkled sugar. This is heaven. Okay, YouTube. We're done for the night. That was it. We had our steak Florentine. We had our side of pasta. We had our broccolini. And now we're having dessert, and I know you guys are jealous. Oh, absolutely amazing. I want to thank everybody for watching. Don't forget to share, comment, and subscribe and like our videos. We really appreciate you guys watching. This has been Cooking with Italo.